Hey there, guys. How you doing? Brad here at Caliber. So hey, I want to create this little total cost analysis video for you guys, and this will help simplify. Now, I did use this particular property to calculate all of your closing costs and cash needed to close. Keep in mind that until you get into contract and actually choose a title company to work with, this is just a kind of a rough estimate of cash needed to close. I spoke to Willa this morning. He seems like a great realtor to work with. So it seems like just a phenomenal opportunity, as we discussed on Friday. As opposed to going out and being in a multiple offer situation, potentially overpaying for a property. So again, I think the sellers are being very gracious to work with you and come up with just the appraised value as the purchase price. Anyways, let's talk about the numbers here real quick. So if you take a look here, I've got under this summary section, I've got three different columns. These are all at a $640,000 purchase price if that's where you guys end up offering for the home. The very first column there you'll see is called no points. So based on today's interest rates, and by the way, rates are doing phenomenal. I don't think I've quoted you guys a rate as low as this in all of this year really, because they've just been higher than that. But the bond market is seeing somewhat of a rally today again. So again, we could see better interest rates here in the next day or two or week or so. And we could talk about locking in when we want to do that more in detail. But nevertheless, today the rate is 3.99. That's a no point loan. Your payment would be $39.55. That does include, of course, your property taxes as well as your homeowner's insurance. Now, your guys' tax benefit is $484 or $424 on that scenario. And again, that is inclusive of your interest write-off that you have for making your monthly mortgage interest, as well as the property tax write-off. So pretty big benefit based on your 28% tax bracket for home ownership, as opposed to, of course, renting. Cash to close is $14,831 estimated. That includes about $975 in a down payment. That's what you would need based on the allowable VA loan amount maximum for that county. So $975 plus your closing costs equal your total cash to close here of $14,831. Okay. Now all I've done in the second column here is lower the interest rate by 1/8%, and you can see that drops your payment down just a little bit, not a whole lot, about $43. So $39.12 would be a monthly payment, but it increases your closing costs because you're paying points in this case. So your cash to close jumps up to $17,114. The other option to buy down your rate even further, down to 3.75 in this scenario here, you can see there your payment drops to $38.66. Now I know you guys are kind of maxing out on what you want to afford on a monthly payment. So again, I want to throw these options at you. And you can see there your cash to close on that scenario is $19,725. And the reason it's higher is because of points. And let me point this out real quick. So here is the closing cost breakdown. Okay, here's our three scenarios right here, and paying points. So this is a no point loan, the very first one at 3.99%. And then you're paying about $2,200 in points to get your rate down to 3.875 in this column. And then you're paying closer to $5,000 to buy down your rate to 3.75. Now, in my opinion, that's probably not advantageous for you because it would take too long to make up that savings in cost, because again, the monthly savings is not substantial enough to pay $5,000 in closing costs. So I would recommend either a no point, or maybe even buying down, paying a couple $1,000s and paying points, because again, that would save you $43 a month. So you've got about $500 a year in savings. So you'll see that savings, you'll recapture that cost, I should say, in years to come. And if you keep this loan long term, let's say just 10 years out, you're going to see a big benefit in interest savings by paying an 1/8% lower in interest rate. So again, we can talk more in detail about those to figure out which one's going to be the best option for you. But I want to point out something very exciting. Down here below in the green bar graphs, it says net worth in 10 years. I forecasted out if you keep this home for the next 10 years, you keep this particular loan, this 30-year mortgage for that 10-year period, and you just make your standard monthly mortgage payments. And if you've got property, let's say property appreciation goes 3%, which is pretty modest, but let's just say 3% for the next 10 years. Every year your equity, or I should say your appreciation, goes up 3%. Well, what you would have in net worth, in other words, in equity in the property, is pretty substantial. $346,000 you can see there. And again, that's just making your monthly mortgage payment every month plus the appreciation of home values of 3%. You'd have almost $350,000 in equity. So pretty amazing. I wanted to point that out to you guys. And if you have any questions on this, feel free to give me a call. At this point, though, I'm just going to be waiting for an executed contract. Once you guys, negotiate and find out what price point you're going to come in at. Sorry about that. I'm kind of blowing up all over. So yeah, just give me a call. At that point, when you get into contract, that is when we would actually talk about where interest rates are at that point in time, because they do change daily and sometimes a couple times or a few times throughout the day. So it's important that I watch the market on live time, so I do know whether we should float the market or we should consider locking right away. Anyways, I hope that's helpful for you guys to make an informed decision here on the offer, and I'll wait to hear from you guys. All right, have a wonderful day.